If you'd like some information on coping with cancer, here's the number for the American Cancer Society in the Pittsburgh area. If you're outside of Pittsburgh, there's probably another number. Look in the phone book in your hometown. But the number in Pittsburgh, 412 is the area code if you're slightly outside the city, 261-4352. 261-4352. People there to help. Let me introduce some more people who join us this morning and who have their own personal stories to tell, and I'd be interested to hear what they have to say about Dave's story, as already told this morning. Please welcome Barbara Johanson from Jefferson Borough. We'll start with you, Barbara. 9 years ago, the diagnosis was?
You have breast cancer.
The news to you, your reaction?
Terrified. You know, when you hear the word cancer, especially a few years ago, you automatically thought you were going to die. And it's just not that way. And people are afraid of the word. And of course I was afraid of it and thought I was going to die.
You had 3 children at that time, right?
Right. Still do.
Well, that's true. That's true. Thank you. Still do. Now they're grown. They're older. But at the time, their ages were?
7, 9, 13, about that age.
You were a busy mom with a lot on your mind.
Right.
How old were you when the diagnosis came?
37.
What went on inside of your heart when you faced that news and faced the surgery and the aftermath?
My first worry, really, thought was my kids. You know, will I be around to watch them grow up? And that was my main concern. And of course, I'm still here and still watching them grow. And my husband was a great support for me, and they're just great. My daughter's graduating from college next week, so live to see that.
All right. Internal philosophy. When you listen to Dave's story, is there anything you related to and said, me too?
A lot. I don't know. There's something inside of you. I don't know what. Something takes over. The will to live, just to keep on going. I do it with humor.
In what sense?
Oh, I don't know. I used to, after the surgery and after I got over why me and all that, I developed a humor about it, and I think because of that I've gone out and become a volunteer and visit patients in the hospital, and they all say, I like your humor. You know, you can still laugh about it. So.
You have a great story about the bowling league, right?
Right.
I mean, you had the experience that Dave did where people were around you and were very quiet and solemn and didn't quite know what to say, and they felt awkward. And I mean, when people have really bad things happen to them, the reason that people don't want to say anything often is because they feel so inadequate. It's like, what could I say that could possibly make this better? So you show up to play, to go bowling.
Right, like I guess 2 or 3 months after my mastectomy, and I went to bowl, and everybody was like afraid, I guess, to mention the word cancer. So I got up to bowl, and I did fairly well, and of course, I don't know if I should say this on the air. And I said, well, that's because I don't have a boob. I can't bowl that well. But after I could laugh about it, then they laughed about it. So.
And you couldn't bowl all that well before, right?
I never was that good.
I mean, Dave, the point that comes to mind from your book is when you had broken the arm and you're in the hotel room that night after you came back from the hospital, and the guys on the team all walked in, and you said it was almost, looked funereal. They walked in and were very quiet and didn't know what to say.
It was amazing, the response of the players as they came in, and then after they saw my face and recognized that everything was okay, you basically have to kind of, I guess, suppress that whole attitude that, hey, you know, something tragic has just happened to this guy, and really throw that out the window by your behavior so that you can get them to relax, because by relaxing them, then it just makes it that much easier for conversation, for support, for encouragement, because they're just stuck. They don't know what to say to you. And they just look at you and go, I just can't believe it. You know, and then when you break the ice.
Even the announcers who were doing the play-by-play, and they always have something to say about anything, and they're always so slick. We're obviously struggling to even explain what happened. And you write that your wife was listening on a transistor radio, and they were trying to minimize it. They didn't want to make it seem like a big deal. Yes. And of course, that would be enough for a wife to really go out of her skin, right? Because you're thinking, oh my God, it really is terrible. But that discomfort level then, does that make it even more burdensome for you to get a grip on it?
I don't think so.
You didn't feel as if, gosh, I have to deal with my own fears, my own struggle, my own feelings, and now I've got to worry about other people too.
I didn't really worry about it. I just figured I had to put it to ease. It's just, you know, you just have to say I'm okay, and then once they know that, then everything's fine.
And then I sense that they gave you back, in both cases, what you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You kind of just opened the gate and said, it's okay to come through.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most difficult time, the time that was darkest for you?
Night before surgery. When you know you're going in, you don't know really what your diagnosis is going to be the next day when you wake up. That was probably the worst part.
What'd you do?
Let's see. I stayed up late, cried. Of course, they wouldn't let you eat, so you're hungry.
Of course, if somebody says you can't do anything, then you really want it, right?
Right. Just, you know, just nervous, completely a basket case.
Did you find strength there, or were you just not strong?
I think I did. Prayed a lot. And then the next day after I woke up, and it was like, okay, let's keep on going. I had it done on St. Patrick's Day, so I would have the luck of the Irish with me.
And you believe it worked. That's right. Let's bring in someone from home. Tom from Wilkinsburg, good morning to you.
Good morning. I have a question for Dave. Dave, in the midst of everything you went through, you have mentioned your faith. Did you ever doubt or waver in your faith as a result of what happened to you? And did you find any scripture particularly helpful for you?
That's a good question. Thank you.
No doubts. I never wavered because we had been through enough prior to this whole experience where I came to just, I guess, basically trust and obey in the whole thing, with God being in control of my life. And that's where that inner peace comes from. That's where that peace and contentment. I guess the scripture that I can share that probably speaks a lot louder than any words that I could say. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But what's more important about that verse are the verses that are right before that in 11 and 12. It says, Paul says, where he knows what it means to have everything and then to have nothing. But he has found the secret, and that's to be content in all things. And then he goes on to say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that gave me a peace to be content in the situation I was in because I couldn't change it. None of us up here could take away what's happened to us. But one thing we need to do is be able to deal with it, to have peace, and to be able to stand there firm in the midst of the storm. And that's where it came from.
Not a time when you said, if there is a God, why is he doing this to me?
Yes, you do wonder.
There was that time.
Yeah, I did. Why?
But not, is there a God?
No, I wouldn't blame God for it. I think it was, for me, I've grown through it. I've done a lot more with my life than I ever thought I'd do since then.
It's interesting. What's your motto?
Oh, I don't have time for cancer.
I like it. Now let's take a break. We're going to come back. We've got more people to meet, more calls from home. We'll come out into the audience and talk too. Would you like to be part of our studio audience? Well, it's really easy. All you have to do is give us a call at 244-4447 to reserve your free tickets. That's 244-4447. If you'd like to join us here at Pittsburgh's Talking, call now.
I eat sausage with onions with your president, and my wife is telling me get lost. So, I take a Clorette. Hello, my little babushka. Only Clorette's has Actazole with chloride.